Hi everyone, my name is Kim Lepp and I'm the owner of Homestead Vancouver. And today we're going to talk about returning home. There is 2 steps you need to do when a loved one is returning home from the hospital. The first step is preparing the home. The second step is preparing them. So let's take a look at preparing the home. You know, you get this dreaded call from the hospital, and usually it's a discharge nurse or it's a doctor, and they're saying, well, tomorrow your loved one is going to be sent home. And their panic starts to hit because you're not ready. You're not really sure what to do, who to contact, or how to actually get everything ready for when the loved one comes home. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 6 steps. So the first step is looking at all the dark areas in the home. We know seniors love to keep the hydro as low as possible. And so there might be areas in the home that are very dark and not very safe. When your loved one comes home from the hospital, there's a lot of disorientation. They're not really themselves when they first come home. So we have to prepare a very safe environment for them. The second thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that all the entries are very safe. And what I mean by that is, are there railings on the front door when they come in? Can they even get in the front door? Do you need to maybe have a ramp built so that it's very easy for them to get wheeled into the house? So these are things that you must look at and try to prepare for their return. The third thing is remove any clutter. Clutter is a really, I think it's probably one of the worst things that we can have. It's a real fall hazard for the seniors, so we need to make sure that all the pathways that they need to travel through are clear and free of clutter. Things that they won't be able to trip on, like rugs that shouldn't be there. Extra garbage bags that are kept out in the middle of the floor should be removed. Anything that is not safe, that needs to be removed immediately. The fourth thing that you need to do, just because they are going to be disorientated, is to make sure that all their items are in the places that they're familiar with. Their toothbrush is where it always is. Their soaps in the bathroom is always where they are. In the kitchen, everything that they use regularly, their coffee and everything, please make sure that it's in the same spot. And the fifth thing is that you can actually label those items. And the reason why you want to label them is because sometimes they might think salt is sugar or vice versa. And it's really important for them because don't forget, again, I can't stress this enough, when they first come home from the hospital, they're very disorientated. They're very weak and they're not really themselves, so they can mistake any type of food for something else that's not really what it is. So just take that time and label it. The 6th thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that all the fridge is cleaned out. So anything that was in there before, you want to make sure that it's not past the due date. And that's really important because you don't know how old the things were in the fridge before they even went in the hospital. And then coming out, I can guarantee you there'll be a lot of stuff in there past the expiry date. And then what I like to tell people is get a couple of days worth of pre-made food. Especially if they're coming home on their own, you want to really make sure that that food is there for them to eat and it's readily available and easy to make. So what we'd like to suggest is foods that are already prepared for them in advance. And that could be Meals on Wheels is one company that I can think of. The last thing are all the devices that they need for their safety. So that can be even handrails in the bathroom. They might need a bed rail. These are things that you can find out from the hospital before they're actually discharged. What are some of the things that we need to put in place? Occupational therapists are great help. And so you can ask the OT at the hospital, what is it that my loved one needs? And you can make sure that it's already set up for when they come home. So the second step that we talked about was now they're coming home. And what do I need to do to prepare them? The very first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you know exactly when your loved one is being discharged. And the reason why you need to know that is because if you cannot make it, then maybe you can get in some kind of company that can do it. There's hospital transportation, you can actually get a taxi, or you can call companies like Homestead that will actually help bring them home. The second thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you know what you can do to make it better for your loved one. How can you help them recover quickly? The third thing you really want to make sure is what are some of the problems that might come up when your loved one is home? And that can deal with medication problems. Depending on what happened, if they had surgery, what are some of the things that you need to look for to make sure that they're still safe and that they are recovering? The fourth thing that you must do before they leave the hospital is go over all the medications with the doctor or the pharmacist that is actually looking after your loved one. And that means everything that your loved one is on. So, a lot of times we go into a senior's home and they've got vitamins and they've got over-the-counter things that they think are going to help them. And then they've got the medication from the doctor. So you want to sit down and have a really good picture of everything that your loved one is actually on so that you understand what they should be taking and what they shouldn't be taking. The fifth thing is to make sure that you know exactly what equipment is needed in the home. It could be they need a wheelchair, they need walkers, whatever it is that they need, you want to confirm that it is actually set up and ready for them. The sixth thing you want to find out is can you assist them? You're taking your loved one home and now there's things that need to happen. Like, do you need to shower them? Do they need help cooking? Do they need help eating? Is their mobility okay? Do they need help walking? So all these things, you must really have a confirmation of what is needed when they come home. The seventh thing, which I can't stress enough, is to make sure that you get written discharge instructions. And so this is a detailed instructions of exactly what needs to happen when your loved one goes home. And this is so important. And it's not given freely, so you must ask for it. You're the advocacy for your loved one. So you make sure that you have all the information that you need so this recovery is the best that it can be. The eighth thing that you need to look for is doctor's appointments. So you want to make sure that all the appointments that are upcoming after the discharge are written down in your calendar. And believe me, there will be a lot. And it might not just be one doctor, it might be 4 or 5 different doctors that they have to see. Just make sure you're really clear on when these appointments are. And the last thing I have to say is just make sure that the prescriptions for the medication is actually sent to the pharmacist. This normally automatically takes place, but just ask, did the medications get sent to the pharmacist? And are they going to be delivered to the home or should I pick them up? If you have all these tools under your belt, you can have a very successful return home. It's just really important to know what to do, because if you don't know what to do, it just makes everything so complicated. And really, it's just an uneasy feeling for everybody, for the loved one coming home and for yourself. So if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to call us because we will definitely help you through this transition. So if you want to, there's a whole booklet called Returning Home. There's a link there, you can download it, and it actually goes step by step what you need to do. So please reach out for help because it is just so nice to know that there's somebody out there that can actually walk you through this. Thank you so much.